We go. Hi everybody and welcome to today's coffee break. I'm Giulia and I was a participant of Mosaic Lecture, and today we are going to talk a little bit about mosaic, and I will not do that alone, so there is Ivo waiting to join us. So where are you, Ivo? Searching for Ivo. I don't see Ivo. Where are you, Ivo? Well, while I search for him, as I said, today we're going to talk about the Mosaic expedition, and I'm going to answer. Here is Ivo. We cannot answer all of them. Unfortunately, there is not enough time, but we will do our best to answer most of them. And during the last 5 minutes of our coffee break, that is going to last 20-30 minutes today, we will answer some of your live questions. And we're still waiting for Ivo to join. In the meantime, I'm alone. It's okay. I can start say something about myself. So I'm working in Germany at the Alfred-Wegener-Institut that organized this, at least is leading this big expedition that is Mosaic. And I'm a physicist, but I also work with biologists. So I do a little bit both, and I work a lot with sea ice and also with the ecosystems connected to sea ice. So CS algae, for example, and zooplankton and fishes and so on. Yeah, so there are quite some funny stories about fishes. Let's try to add Ivo again. So I'm sorry, guys, to make you wait. Here he is. Okay. Let's add Ivo. Let's see whether he can join us. There you are. It lasted a bit.
Yeah, I didn't see the invitation. I didn't get it, I think. I don't know.
It's fine. I just took some time to tell about my work a little bit, so now you have time to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Giulia, and hello, everyone. My name is Ivo. I was also on leg 2 of the Mosaic expedition together with Giulia, and I am a PhD student from Switzerland. I started my PhD at the Alfred-Wegener-Institut, and now I'm at the EPFL, that's the Technical University in Lausanne in Switzerland. And yeah, I'm doing atmospheric research.
Yeah, so he was in the air and I was on the ice.
Exactly.
Do you have your coffee with you, Ivo?
Yeah, I do, of course.
Okay, what are you drinking? Black coffee? No?
No, a milk coffee with milk today.
Okay. Caffè latte.
Caffè latte, yeah.
Like we had on Polarsten once, you remember? With the machine, yeah. And with the tasting of the different types of coffee that the machine was offering us. So, not bad, but...
Exactly.
I always have my electric coffee. As an Italian should do, and I always make my own coffee.
I know this machine. I think I've seen this machine before, right? On Polarstern.
Yeah, actually, I always have it with me. It's the one that I have in my lab, so I like to make my own coffee. Yeah, I mean, coffee breaks are sometimes some sort of lifesavers on Polarstern when you have so much work and, yeah, very tough rhythm, work rhythm. So, And did you have the time regularly to make your coffee break on Polarsten? The one at 3:30 when they serve cake also?
Yeah, I could do that quite often, actually. That's really nice. So always at 3:30, cake and coffee. And for me, it was easy because I was working on the ship, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was often on the ice, so.
You mostly missed it, right?
Yeah, yes. I remember one day we finished with the fishing and we were going back to the ship, and I asked, okay guys, do you know the time? And they told me it's 3 something. And I thought, wow, I'm going back to the ship for coffee break? That's amazing.
Yeah, you were, I think, Giulia, you were probably one of the busiest people on the ship. You were always working like from the morning till evening, till after dinner, and like, yeah,
Yeah.
cleaning your fish line after dinner at 9 o'clock in the night.
But those were funny moments. I was alone, just put on some music with my earplugs, and I could just, I had to get used to smell the fish all the time, but then it was nice. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I was doing a lot of different things on the ship, so this also probably goes in the line of some of the questions that we received. I was working on the ice, doing ice coring. And for these, we spent an entire day from 9 in the morning until 5:30 in the evening. So in the afternoon, we were outside. We didn't have any lunch break because we would just be on the ice and we would just extract ice cores the whole time, and then come back right before dinner with all our ice cores and bring all our samples on board. And with the ice cores, one of the things we look at is the algae that are inside the ice. So it's a little bit the same of the phytoplankton that is in the water. In the ice, you also have some algae. And what we do, we take ice cores and then we melt them. And once they are melted, we filter them. So we concentrate all this algae on a small filter, and we can see how much biomass is there. And if we follow this regularly, then we can see when there is an algal bloom, for example, because we can follow the growth of the algae. So we were there in winter, so there was not that much going on in terms of primary production.
Algae, yeah.
Sorry?
In terms of algae, there's not much activity, right?
No, exactly. Yeah. But it can be now that there is light. So
yeah.
And then another thing that I was doing, I was working with the zooplankton. So we had some nets that would go down in the water column and then are pulled up, and then they collect some small organisms. They could look like shrimps, a little bit smaller than shrimps, or like some large insects probably we could compare to. And then we look at how many of these organisms are there, which ones are actually there, and then we also take some samples and bring them back home where they do analysis, and they can look, for example, what these animals are eating and whether they are producing eggs, and in which kind of status they are, so if they are healthy or not, for example. And then, well, I was a fisherwoman for Austin, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you did also the fishing, right? You have to tell the people about the fishing, about your fish lines.
Yeah, oh my God, that was fun. And you came to help me a couple of times. So, so with ice fishing, we made a hole in the ice and we deployed this long lines. They are 200 meters long, more or less, with 150 hooks in total, and then they are left in the water for 24 hours, and then we take them back and we see whether there is any fish attached. And I went fishing every week, twice a week, and I got 0 fish.
Yeah.
We knew already that there is a very low abundance of fish in the Central Arctic Ocean, but yeah.
Yeah, I can remember helping you in the evenings, taking the bites of all the hooks, and almost every hook has still a bite on it, right? So they were, they were not in use at all, like no fish.
They should change restaurants. Yeah, and you were sometimes hiding in your container, Ivo. I couldn't find you around.
Quite often, yeah. So I was working on the bow on the ship in a container with we had 15 instruments, measurement instruments, for measuring aerosols. So I did, my job was mostly just maintaining all the instruments, right, and seeing that everything worked. And it was sometimes quite challenging because it's a lot of technology. It's like some people on the ice do like this manual handwork, right, with shovels or with drilling machines and stuff. And I had I just had to look for all this technology and all these instruments and devices, and that was sometimes quite challenging. So, but we could measure quite many, like quite a long time, because we did 24/7 measurements like all the time. So, but I could see some interesting patterns, I think, in the aerosols, and I hope I will see now with the analysis how much they influence the fog in the Arctic.
Yeah, that's quite nice. I mean, I remember visiting you in your container, and you had so many instruments and cables and monitors and
yeah. So for me, because I mean, I couldn't go on the ice that often, so I was quite happy when I could help you out with your fish lines, for example, or helping you as a bear guard sometimes as well, right? I also came as a bear guard sometimes, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it when I could go on the ice and help the people. Also, if it was just with wearing like the protection stuff for the bear guard, for the bear protection.
Well, that was very much appreciated. Yeah. Have you ever scared about it to meet a bear?
Yeah, and it was so cool. I mean, the landscape was fascinating, right? I was there.
What was the most amazing and challenging, and then the most challenging thing you had? Because we had such a question, and I mean, I think I receive a lot such a question.
Yeah, I see that. I saw that. I think, I mean, I still think the most fascinating thing was just standing out there. You know, I mean, it was complete darkness, right, when we were there. So there was no sunlight. It was just dark. You couldn't see the horizon, and you were standing out there in this landscape that looked like on the moon, and you stand there and look around, and you don't see that far, but all you see is actually just ice and snow and the darkness. And then you turn around, and suddenly you see a ship there. Like you see the Polarstern, huge, with its lights, and it looked really, really amazing. Just sometimes I had to, you know, when you're walking out there, you just think, oh yeah, you're just walking around on ice. But then it remembers you that you are actually standing on the ocean. There's 4,000 meters of seawater underneath you, and you're just walking on top of it, and there's actually a ship standing in this landscape. That was so cool. Yeah. And I think another really fascinating moment was when we first time saw the daylight coming, like when we saw on the horizon, you know, this little red sky appearing just for a few hours maybe, or even a few minutes in the beginning, and you could barely see it, but we knew, okay, that's the sun, and it's slowly coming back. That was also really cool.
Yeah. I remember that moment. For the first time I had an idea. Yeah, we could see the horizon. You know, we had a different idea of space, because when it was so dark, you could just see maybe 100 meters because you had a headlamp.
Exactly.
And then you couldn't see further. So your entire world, maybe when we were going ice coring and we were going far away from the ship, really your entire world is 100 meters around you that you can illuminate with your headlamp. So, but I also found that darkness was the most amazing thing. So this peach sky, but this white ice where we were walking, and also before going outside we had to wear so many gears because of the cold, and I really felt like an astronaut, and I'm walking on the moon. So it was, oh my God, that was amazing. And I found challenging for me was definitely the cold. So we had -30 more or less, and with wind
Yeah.
chill. And when we were outside working on the ice and taking ice cores, yeah, that was tough. I mean, your hands get cold so quickly that they start to hurt, and everything freezes up when you when you breathe. So you get like an ice melt when you come back to the ship. Yeah. So that was challenging. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think for me, I think the cold was not that challenging for me because I wasn't out so often. I wasn't out every day, and mostly if I went out, I only went out for a few hours and never for a whole day. So I really think for me, actually, the most challenging part was just at the beginning when I was left alone for my project, responsible for 15 measurement instruments that all have to run, and I just had to see to yeah, it was my responsibility to let everything run. I mean, it was my first time on the ship, my first time running this container, and yeah, that was quite a challenge in the beginning, and especially because our heating for the inlet lines was broken, so my inlet always froze, and the air couldn't come inside anymore, like the air that I sampled. So I had to fix the whole heating. I had to take down the whole inlet, and I had to go to the workshop on the ship and fix it with the engineer there, and they helped me out. And yeah, that was quite a challenge.
But since you had to stay often on the ship, did you feel trapped sometimes?
No, actually not. I didn't feel like this. I only realized that in the like afterwards when I came home that I mean we were really trapped. I mean in the evening we could not leave the ship anymore, and our whole life for 4 months actually was on ships, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I also realized that. But no, I think I never felt trapped or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, me neither. Even
How,
if you think, we were just so far north, just on that ship. Wow.
yeah.
So far
How did
from
you
everybody else.
how do you remember the darkness? There's many questions about the darkness. How did you handle the darkness, and did you feel it? How was it for you?
No, honestly, I didn't feel bad at all. So, I mean, until we were inside the ship, we always had the light and it felt very normal. It was when we were outside. I think at the very beginning, I felt a bit scared because I couldn't really see and we were walking around the ice floe or driving with the snowmobiles and I couldn't
Yeah.
orient myself because I didn't know the flow and I didn't know the landscape. So at the beginning, I was always a little bit scared. But then after a short time, I started to be used, okay, that is the street that is leading to that part of the ice flow, and that is the road leading to that other part of the ice flow. And then I started to feel very comfortable, and then it was not a problem at all. Yeah. And when we had full moon, it was still quite bright anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
So,
me, yeah, I think for me I was not actually aware of the darkness. I didn't feel affected by the darkness. But the moment when we first saw sunlight or daylight a little bit, and then it became more and more, and suddenly I mean, towards the end of the expedition, we were in the light again. The light came back, and then I realized, okay, now I start actually to miss the sun, and I felt like I kind of forgot about the sun for a while.
it was very
Yeah,
nice when the sun on the way back when we were on Dranitsin on the Russian icebreaker. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I remember the day. It was very exciting to see the sun. Yeah, that was the exciting part. On that ship, felt trapped a little bit, honestly. So it was
On
a
the
long
Capitan
way
Ryan.
back.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, we did
yeah.
that.
Wait, somebody asked about Russian style pasta, and I would say Italian style is better. So I think food was not the highlight of the Dranitsin. Yeah, yeah. Also, when we were on Dranitsin, all these Corona situations started to come up, And
Yeah.
I think it was, many of us, it was quite challenging to see, you know, to be outside, very far away from home, and you know, seeing that there is a pandemic developing and not knowing what's happening to our families with very poor internet connection. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that was definitely. I mean, to me in the beginning, I was like, I mean, remember we had this newspaper on Polarstern already, and there we
yeah,
got some news about this virus spreading in China, and I thought, oh, that's no big deal, that's a flu or something, and and then on our way back, I think it became more severe, and yeah,
yeah.
especially
Oh, we
Italy
were
was,
underneath it. When we
yeah,
left Polarsten, I remember I was still writing my family. Oh yes, I will be back to Italy for Eastern time.
yeah, exactly,
Oof,
yeah,
everything changed. So yeah, that was a bit challenging. But yeah, we made it
yeah,
home. So survived the pasta. We made it home. Yeah, and we could also rest a little bit underneath it because we had a lot of work on Polarsten. And
yeah.
I think we also had some questions about our free time, what we were doing besides work. So,
Yeah,
what were your favorite activities, Ivo?
I mean, for me, I really, I think what I enjoyed the most was when someone invited to the cabin, and we had like 4 or 5 people or 6 people together in one of these cabins,
Yeah,
drinking a glass of wine together and playing some cards. That was actually really, really nice, and yeah,
yeah.
and yeah.
Well,
What about yours?
yeah. I think you can easily guess. I mean, for me, it was sauna. It was after
Exactly.
work sauna. So yeah, I mean, we were really lucky. Boston is a very well equipped ship, so we had a
Yeah,
very nice area and gym also. So after work, before going to bed, I would spend some time in sauna just to relax and try to clean up my mind from the stress of the work during the day, and yeah, get a good sleep.
yeah. I was actually I was really happy about the treadmill in the gym. I think
Yeah,
I thought about it lately, and I think I ran about 300 to 400 kilometers on this treadmill during the expedition.
really.
Yeah,
I ran 20 kilometers because I ran twice and both times 10 kilometers. So, and
yeah.
yeah, how was it to go back? Because I think there was a very interesting question about going back to our normal routine, to our normal life. How was it for you?
It was actually quite challenging, more challenging than I expected. It took me a while. It took me like almost 2 weeks, I would say, to get accustomed to get used to like so many people around me again, my friends, and I mean now with Corona, it was because of the coronavirus. I think it was even less severe than it would have been if the daily life was normal around me. Um, yeah, but it took me like 2 weeks to get used to it, and I mean you spent four months with the same people, right? And
Yeah,
trapped on the ship, and now yeah.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. I was missing. So
yeah,
you get so much into the meeting with the people, always meeting
yeah,
the same people. But for me, it was also like I think the first week I was amazed by everything. It's like, wow, there is some sun, or oh wow, there is a tree. I can smell the cows, and I can smell
yeah,
the coffee. I can have a walk outside. I was just amazed by all these things, and but yeah, also for me, it took some time. It's also I think in general I would define it as overwhelming. So you come back and then people are asking questions and they're waiting for you and you have so many impressions coming from the reality around you, impressions that you
yeah,
kind of because we're in a completely different world for 4.5 months. So it was, also for me, but but also nice.
I think it's time that we check out some live questions now from the audience and try to answer some of these questions. I mean, we will never be able to answer all of them, but let's see. Let's see what the audience asks us and what they want to know about.
Since we are waiting, somebody sent, you're all guys somebody said you're all amazing people, and I would like to say thank you very much.
Would you do it again? Yeah, you would. You are actually going again.
I am. I'm getting ready for leg 4, so I'm happy to go back. Yeah. Well, for me, it was not the first expedition, so, but still, it was the first one in winter, so that was more exciting. So.
There's a question.
Experience, So I'm trying to think whether. Well, there was something that I felt was very exciting. We had one day, I think it was the coldest day on the ice floe, and we were coring, so we were the entire day outside working with sea ice. And I remember that day my hands were getting cold the whole time. And when we arrived back to the ship, there were all the people helping us out to carry the equipment and carry the samples, and they also prepared some hot tea ready for us and some cake to welcome us after this day. And so I thought, well, being with these people, that was an amazing experience. So the group of people, the colleagues, the atmosphere that we created all together, this working, that was definitely an amazing experience.
Yeah. I think for me it was also what was really, really amazing as well is that we finally got to see a polar bear on our way back. I've never seen a polar bear before, and I almost believed that I have to go back without seeing any polar bear. So that was really cool. There was someone asking what we studied. So I studied physics for my bachelor's and atmospheric and climate science for my master's. And I think you did physics,
I also
right?
studied bachelor and master. And then I moved more towards biology, but this came even after my PhD. So we are both physicists. So, physics is a good choice. Clearly, Well, about vitamin D, I had some vitamin D with me. I didn't take it every day. I think sometimes maybe it was making me feel a little bit more energetic, but I'm not really sure. Maybe it was even just a placebo. But I think none of us actually has been suffering because of the darkness or.
I don't think so. I mean, I also brought some vitamin D, and I always forgot to take it, and in the end I stopped taking it, and I never felt that I was lacking it. I don't know.
About how Corona is something like 4. I think we have maybe 1 minute left, and this Corona situation, of course, had a big influence on the organization of the future legs of Mosaic. But leg 4 is going ahead. People are in quarantine now, and if all the tests are good, we should be able to leave soon. But as Ivo was saying, it's time to say goodbye. So it was very nice to have this coffee break with you guys. The next coffee break will be on the 4th of June at 4 p.m. and the participants will be soon presented on Instagram. And if you want to follow Mosaic, so because I thought it's better if you guys read it yourself. Can you read it? So this is the website, follow.mosaicexpedition.org.
Yeah.
So
thanks.
Enjoy your coffee.
It was really nice.
see you.
I have one last sip. So see you, and good luck on leg 4, Giulia.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.